Hey everybody, this is Roy Kennedy.
I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Chris Yee.
And today we're taking a look at Unmatched Sun's Origin. This brings 2 new characters to your Unmatched set, and of course I do the math. You can face off head-to-head against these, or add them to your other Unmatched games.
Yep, including the co-op.
Including the co-op, Unmatched Adventures, yep.
Yes.
I have done that, absolutely.
I've definitely played with these with Unmatched Adventures as well.
I agree.
And it's been fun to see playing them versus each other in this box, and now everything for Unmatched, we're going to be like, hey, you can also play this in Adventures.
That's what's interesting. You want to try it out in 2 different arenas now to see how it fits, which is the same with this.
But yeah, I guess we'll go down to the table and show you a little bit about these characters. All right, let's take a look at Sun's Origins, Oda versus Tomoe. This is a game of Unmatched, which if we're not really going to go through exactly how to play Unmatched here, because we have tons of videos on the game, and if you want to go back and check out some of Z's videos, you can check those out. But we will show both of the characters here. So Tomoe is actually over here, Oda's over here, and they're very different characters. So the board here that comes in the game is very much like a castle here, and I love the fact that it's so multi-leveled, and I think it works really well with the characters in here. Oda has some cool abilities though. He has a move of 2, he has melee, and he has master strategist. Other friendly fighters in Oda's zone add +1 to their value for all the combat cards played. So friendly characters are his honor guard. He actually has 2 sidekick honor guards, and they each have 6 health. He has 12, or actually he has 13 health himself. So it's really cool because he's able to buff up these guys when they make attacks if they're in the same zone, which once again, zones are if you're in the same color here. So if you're able to perform attacks with someone that's in your zone with a friendly character, you get that, but do note that Oda doesn't get that himself. And I really do enjoy the miniatures on all of the Unmatched characters here, but these are particularly nice as well. And we'll just take a look at a few of his cards. So he has a lot of cards that are going to be having to do with flanking because he has 2 allies. Flanking is whenever you have 2 characters that both are adjacent to the same character. So even if there was a path away, as long as they're both adjacent, you are considered flanking them. And this also adds interesting situations for this map, particularly because there's a lot of like paths and hallways that can help you get that flanking to be able to trap your opponent in there. But yeah, so just a bunch of different cards here. Deal 2 damage to opposing flanked fighter, and that's just a special ability. Just straight up deal 2 damage. No defense, no attack there. That's amazing. Cancel the effects on your opponent's card, which is always good. And then he can recover 1 health for each friendly fighter, which is really cool as well because he has multiple people with a bunch of allies there as well. And then he just has a bunch of really cool cards. He's very much about positioning his honor guard in the right place to be able to flank your opponent and buff up their stats by them being in the same zone as well. And then also he has some cards that work with himself, but I feel like he's very much more of a leader character than he is of a direct fighter himself. So a bunch of his cards you can see are going to be honor guard, honor guard, honor guard, honor guard. I think this is one of the characters that has the most cards specifically for their allies as opposed to doing stuff for themselves. So lots of innies there as well. And then he has a few cards that only work for himself, you know. So it is really cool to see how he works and how he's so much different. And then we have Tomoe, which she's very different as well. She has, basically she's a ranged character with 14 hit points on her life dial there. And then when an opposing hero leaves her space, deal 1 damage to that hero. So she's all about making it so that you don't want to move out of her zone at all. And then also a bunch of her cards will push people as well. And she has a bunch of really cool healing and things like that. So even though she's a ranged character, she also has a bunch of cards that if your opponent is adjacent to you, you get to do extra benefits. And then this is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck. It is a 7 strength. This attack can only target a fighter that is adjacent to you. And place it face up after combat in the turn. So you're going to attack your opponent for 7. They know you're attacking them for 7. They can choose how they want to defend. They know everything that's coming out there. But this is your last battle. Witness my last battle. Going out there on that last stand is just really cool. And just a lot of really cool stuff that allows you to move through different characters, which is another thing that's really cool for this matchup of 2 characters against each other, which I feel like a lot of these characters are like tailor-made to face off against each other, which is really cool. And of course, she has a bunch of really cool cards, and I just love the artwork with like her flying through and the sakura trees there. It's very, very much feels and evokes the flavor and theme of this. And this is kind of interesting because this is more of a actual historic set for Unmatched, because you have those characters and you have the book here kind of describes like a bunch of the backstory for Oda and Tomoe in here, which is really cool. So people that don't know the lore behind these figures is able to know it. And then it also explains flanking and then her attack of opportunity, which is whenever someone moves out of her space. So just she's all about disrupting your movement, not allowing you to like retreat really, or else you're going to get damaged, but then also doing extra things if you're adjacent to her and being able to push you around to be able to force you to take that damage anyway. But yeah, pretty straightforward characters. Let's get to what we think about Unmatched Sun's Origin. All right, so Unmatched Sun's Origin comes with 2 new characters, which is kind of cool. I like the fact that they've done like this, a little bit of like Japanese historical characters a little bit there, and they have like all the lore and backstory for them in the little booklet there. And it's just cool to like see these characters, because I didn't personally know about these at all before playing this, but it was really cool to play the game with them and interact. What do you guys think?
The artwork in this is awesome.
Oh, for sure.
And the sculpt of, I think is it Tomoe or?
Tomoe.
Yeah, the sculpt is, I don't know why I like that when there's like only one base and the kind of leaning over. The sculpt is just great on that.
Yeah. Well, and they lean into the character. They lean into the character types. You know, you look at the stance of Tomoe and you're like, you shouldn't be standing. Like that miniature shouldn't work. But she's a ranger, and so very agile and movable. Whereas Oda, and he's just like
Commander.
Yes,
I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, like the sculpts represent that, the cards represent that, the little historical booklet in there. I really like just learning about things. I think it was Camilla in one of the top 10 lists called accidental learning. You're playing a game and you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I've read some Wikipedia articles because of the little historical notes, the little liners they put in there.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, these people are separated by about 4 centuries. I didn't realize that.
Dude, if you had me do a timeline, I would be horrible at it. It's just, my accidental learning comes from people correcting me. I'm glad to get it from a book.
So how do you guys feel about the mechanics? These 2 characters play extremely differently from each other, but I love how they kind of like match up in this little pairing, and the map kind of goes along with that as well.
Well, first off, Tomoe, I think it's Tomoe. Is that how you say it? Tomoe.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, I like the fact she's ranged, but she also likes to be close. She's ranged, but likes to be adjacent.
Yeah, she has a lot of cards that trigger off of that, and can only be triggered if she's adjacent.
Right? Yeah. Because I think she's the one that if you leave, they get a hit. Her zone, right?
If you push a hero out of her zone or a hero leaves her zone, it doesn't work for minions, but then she'll do a damage to them. So it's her attack of opportunity.
Right, cool. Which is interesting in the fact that the problem with the range is people are going to try to leave that zone. Every time you get in there, they're going to leave it. That kind of helps negate that. And the fact that she wants to be close, get that adjacency. The one thing is that going into the co-op, which is it's odd because you're going to compare it to each arena, right? In the co-op, I think that -1 or that -1 only is heroes. So I don't know if that's going to actually be the boss of the other one, the minions and stuff. So that's the way we haven't played it. Gotcha. So that kind of, I think, makes her better. I think the one-on-one, I really think it elevates her towards the top.
There are in this set a few terms and a few new little keywords and stuff, and like those little effects that when you play it in the co-op, you have to say, like, okay, well, it only affects heroes. So does it affect the just Mothman and the alien, or does it affect the other things? How does for Oda, right? He's got the flanking and stuff. Does that work for only characters under my control or friendly fighters?
Right.
And they do a good job of being consistent. The difference between friendly fighters, if you're on a team, and then you can also play Unmatched in teams versus 2v2.
Right.
So they have to clarify, and so you just have to be aware. Friendly fighters is different than fighters under your control,
right?
Which would be his 2 honor guard.
And I do love that, like with Oda, friendly fighters are still other characters in cooperative mode, is so huge. I played with him in a cooperative game against a bunch of people during the Dice Tower cruise, and I would just stand in the middle of the biggest like area I could and just help all my allies get +1 to their attack, and then have my little honor guard run around the sides and trying to direct like, oh, he needs to attack this honor guard this time, so he's not attacking that character over here. Oh no, he's gonna attack this honor guard this time. Like trying to manipulate the minions in different ways is really cool. And being able to use him to, I mean, he gets to be a commander of basically all of these different players at the same time. It's really cool.
But it's also +1 to combat cards, right?
Right, yeah.
So even defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, so I mean, that's that in co-op, he's just massive. You get one of those that has the 3 sections, and that's what I was saying. When I played him, I'm like, I can't wait to use him in co-op.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Because he'll then kind of be this tank where he's probably going to soak up a lot of damage standing right in the middle, so you can only spam it so much. You have to be cautious with it.
And he's not necessarily the best at playing his own cards. Honestly, a lot of the cards in his deck, like a ton of them, have to do with his honor guard, you know, because he's supposed to be leading those guys into doing the work, you know? So it's kind of interesting to be like, I'm going to be here and be like the support rock character, but my honor guard are still going to be doing all the different stuff. That's really fun.
Now, the fact that there's 2 honor guard, they both have 6 health.
Have a ton of health,
Right? That's a lot for sidekick characters.
Big time.
And it can be overwhelming. So when we play head to head, like I have 3 fairly imposing figures to just Tomoe, and so I like that these 2 characters that are very different. One is agile ranger, and the other is just like stalwart commander of multiple characters. The board in this set has a lot of narrow lanes, a lot of narrow areas where you can kind of get trapped.
So Tomoe has to be very careful to like not get flanked and pinned in, but she does have cards that are like, oh, you can just go straight through enemy characters, or oh, you can move around in different places. You can push people away and push people around, which helps her be able to trigger some of her stuff, which is really cool.
I agree. And like Oda, I mean, I almost had a Raptor feel when you're trying to consistently close in on that person. And even the board gave me kind of a Raptor feel as far as the way you kind of have that center area. So it really, I liked that. Be able to I'm just trying to move closer to you to close in. So I really enjoyed that.
I do want to say her card that's like my favorite out of the whole deck is her Last Stand card. It's like 7 damage, but you like have to reveal that you're playing it. You have to be adjacent, and you're like 7 damage, Last Stand. Go ahead and see what you can defend against that. And like playing a card like that at the right time, it's like, oh, their hand's empty, boom.
Yeah,
that sort of thing can be huge.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that Oda also has some very fun cards with his honor guard. So you're like trying to send these people in, and if they get taken out, half of your, not half, but like a good chunk of your deck is now worthless.
Right.
And so you have to be very careful. And it's always been that way with Unmatched, with the sidekicks, but I think he's one of the most interesting sidekick strong decks.
Yeah, if he loses honor guard, he's in trouble,
Right.
But
unless his honor guard has already done so much damage.
So much damage that you're in trouble. I do think she also has a lot of cards that are very specific to attacking heroes. So she's very much more of like almost an assassin type character. You probably should go straight for the throat. So.
Yeah.
I love how you have to play into each of these, and it's getting so much more focused. The characters are. Yeah.
Without feeling hamstrung, like, oh, I can only do this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Joey, how would you rate this?
I'm coming in at a 9, and because I really like this. Again, Tomoe or whatever, I'll probably do her more in the kind of combative one-on-one type thing. And Oda, I liked him more in the co-op mode, which is one thing I love about this. It shows you that this system is not only going to focus on co-op. They're not saying, okay, now we're going to do co-op. Because this one's like, you know what? Some people are going to do co-op. Some people are just going to go just straight full-on hitting 1v1. I like how they're branching out and doing both, because this really almost bookends what characters can do. I really, really liked it. And the sculpts and the artwork in there is incredible. So this just, this is like a very nice surprise. Didn't know what to expect, but I love it.
For me, this is funny. I looked back, the last time I was in a competitive box Unmatched review with some of the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
So I gave those ones a 7.5.
I know you've played so much more Unmatched since that.
I have played a lot more. So I'm a bit torn because I still like those sets perhaps more than this, and so I think my rating of those has gone up. I'm going to give this one an 8.5. I think the only, they're not negative point. There's plenty of 2-player boxes I think that Tomoe is very interesting in a 3-player setup. I don't prefer playing Unmatched with 3, but the fact that your heroes want to kind of trade blows in different ways.
Right. And having more people run away from you with her is good.
Yes, you know what I mean? So like she becomes very interesting in that. I still also like her in the cooperative stuff.
Yep.
That's the thing. It's going to be hard for me at this point to not like any Unmatched expansion because it's just more stuff to throw into the co-op mode, as well as I still enjoy it competitively. I think head-to-head, I would give this box maybe an 8 just by itself, but the fact that it also now fits into a bigger ecosystem, it's an 8.5. This is excellent.
Nice.
I have almost everything for Unmatched. Like, I love Unmatched. I normally rate everything super high. I mean, I'm coming in at a 9 on this one as well, just because I really like it. I really enjoy the theme. I love the fact that they've done something a little bit more like historical with characters that I don't really necessarily know, which is cool to learn about. And just I love the theme and the setting on this so much. That's really enjoyable for me. So I really enjoyed Origin Sun. So, and I'm just a huge fan of Unmatched and playing it in all the different ways you can play it. I love head-to-head. I love playing 3 players. I love playing cooperative. And it's just cool that you can be like, what level are you at in Unmatched? Let's play there. Oh, you haven't played Unmatched before? Let's maybe play cooperative so you can kind of learn the basics a little bit. I don't want to go head-to-head against somebody who's brand new to the game. And this just allows you to play with new people with these cool new characters. So
I think the one thing is this might not be the best starting set. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah, it is a little bit more advanced, I would think, in some ways. Yeah,
especially with the map too.
Well, and because
the map feels more, hallway.
And Oda has to be very strategic on like how I move 3 characters instead of just moving 1. So that sort of thing.
Yeah. That being said, this is still a phenomenal product. If you have some Unmatched and you like the theme, absolutely get this one because it leans into that theme so well.
If the theme seems like something you'd enjoy more than some of the other Unmatched themes, and you've never picked up Unmatched, I mean, if you're good with gaming and you understand tactical miniature stuff, try this out.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, that has been our look at Unmatched Origin Sun. I've been Roy Candy.
I'm Joy Evans.
I continue to be Chris Yee.
And we'll see you on the next one.